Hello and welcome to video number 7 on how to use Excel for admin use. My name is Johnny Nielsen and I'm going to take you through this short video. And today we're going to be, or in this video, we're going to be looking at using the COUNTIF form, or the COUNTIFs, there's an S on it, form, because there's going to be multi-criteria. The COUNTIF form that we used before, on previous sessions only looked at one criteria. This time we're going to be looking at more than one, or we're going to be looking at two, but it could be 3, 4, or 5. Doesn't really matter. What matters is that this form, COUNTIFs with an S on, gives us the opportunity to look at multi-criteria. To do this, I will be building a small scheme over here in this section here, just showing us or giving us the opportunity to fill in some stats, some statistics, so that we can use for this. So first of all, I'm gonna let's just see. I'm gonna spend a little bit time on filling in. So let's just start by doing that. Okay, so now we've created this small scheme that we're going to use for the statistics, where we use this COUNTIFs form. As you probably noticed, then for these three headlines, I didn't type in the content. I asked the cell to equal the content from my drop-down list, so I don't need to change it. I'm sure that it is spelled the right way, and the same I did the same for this. I directed it to the drop-down list, and there's a purpose for that, because what I'm going to do here in this cell is that it's going to count, and when it's counting, first I'm going to be looking at this column right here, and looking at if there's anything, how many in this column that equals this cell right here. So it's really important that the cell spells innovation the same way that it's spelled over here, that I don't make a typo in it. And if I change something somewhere, it needs to be changed with it. So that is why here it gets the information from the drop-down list. It's a drop-down list that I made. And over here it should be getting the information from the drop-down list as well. After doing that, I'm going to be looking at if it's identified, because I don't want everything that is in this cell. I don't want to count everything that's innovation. I only want the ones from innovation that's identified. So secondly, I'll be looking at this column, the status column here, to see if it's identified. And the status column gets the input from the drop-down list as well. Therefore, this one here needs to get the input from the drop-down list also. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Now let's get to the form. Of course, again, standing in here in the cell, you can go up here. You can choose the COUNTIFs form, where you have multi-criteria, and that is a great way of doing it. I just find this a little bit harder to navigate in. So if I go in here and I say, okay, first I want to be looking at this column here, and then what is it that I want to be looking at? I want to look here in the criteria. I want to make sure that it's the same criteria as this one. Then it opens up here for a new range. Then I say, well, secondly, I'll be looking at this column here. and I'll be looking at the criteria that's up here. Okay, this is very nice. As you can see, I can put in MultiCriteria, and it counts nicely. I say okay, but now I have the form up here. If I put the cursor up here, you can see there's some color coding, and this is where I can really correct that or make sure that I have the right. I've done this correctly. So what it tells me is that first I look at the blue criteria or the blue range. The blue range is here, so you can see it's marked with a blue line or border around this range. That's where I look first. Okay, what is it that I look for in this? I look at this cell that's red. Then I go over here and I can see that this cell turned red and it has a red border around it. So that's correct. In this range, I want to be looking for that. Secondly, I go in and look at the purple range. Here is the purple line around my range. So this is where I want to look for the second criteria. And then the criteria I'm looking for is the green one. And I can see here's a green border around, and that's the exact criteria that I'm going to be looking for here. So now I can see that I did my form correctly, and I can hit. And it's important once you're here, when you're up here, don't put your cursor and click anywhere in the sheet, because then you'll add that to the form. Click Enter first, so you get out of the form, and then you can start maneuvering around again. Okay. So there's some corrections that I need to be doing to this. When I have my form up here, the range, the first range, the blue range, I need it always to be starting, regardless of me copying it, it needs to be starting in row number 6. And it needs always to be in column B. So I'll put my cursor up here. I'll put in a $sign to lock column B, and then I'll click on in between the column and the row, and I'll lock row number 6 with another $sign. Then where does it end? Well, it still needs to end in column B. It cannot all of a sudden include column C. It needs to be column B all the way. But I don't need to specify that it ends with row 19, because if I add more tasks than what I have room for here, I need to be able to add more rows. So I'll only lock column B here. And where is it that what is it that I'm looking at? Well, here I'm looking at this one. Now I want to be able to copy this down. So it does the same for these over here. So I'm not going to lock the, I'm not going to, I need to have it open somehow, but I also want to be able to copy it sidewards. So I need to figure out what to do here, right? If I choose first to make it possible for me to copy it down, then I need to go in and change to be able to copy it sideways afterwards in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells. But if I copy it sideways first and then change to make sure that it's ready for copying down, I only need to do it 3 places. So first of all, I will leave the column here. I'll need to lock the column so that it doesn't move to here. It continues being there. So I'll lock the column on this one, but then I'll leave the row open. Okay. Then we go over to the second one here. This is the range where, again, it needs to be in column E, and it needs to start in row 6. It needs to end in column E as well, but the row doesn't matter. Here, when I move it, I want this cell to move with me. So I don't want to lock the column N. But I don't want, when I start copying it down, I don't want it to move down. I want it to continue being there. So I will lock I will lock the row. Okay. Now let's hit enter. And then let's try to copy it. Now, I have put some formatting in here. If I just drag it, the formatting will be copied as well. So I won't do that. I'll click Control C for copying. Then I'll mark these two. And then I'll click here on the arrow on paste special, and then I'll paste formulas. Click OK. So let's see what I have here. Up here, if I stand in this one, let's just click again up in the functions form to see if I have everything right. The first range that I'm looking at is correctly marked. It's the blue one, and it checks out innovation here. So I put I locked it correctly. And the second I'm looking at is the purple one. It continues being in status, so I did that one correctly as well. And the criteria is the green one, and that one moves from identified to in process, so I did this one correctly as well. Let's just hit enter and then make a quick check on completed. Again, the blue area, the blue range is in category, the criteria is innovation, the purple range is in status, and the criteria is completed. So this one was done correctly as well. Now I need to make sure that that everything here is ready for me to copy these downwards. So here, standing in here, looking at the identification innovation cross. The criteria ranges, or the ranges that where I need to be looking at on status and category needs to be the same. And that's fine. So what I need to be looking at are these two cells right here. This one needs to be able to be copied down to other rows, but it needs to stay in the same column. And we can see I locked the column, but I have an open row. So when I copy it down, it'll actually move from cell to cell downwards. So that's good. The other one here is locked in the row here in row number 8, and it's open in the column. But since I'm copying all of them, they are in the column they need to be, so it can continue being open. But it cannot move down, so it needs to be locked here, so it actually works well. Okay, then I will just mark these. I'll click Control C, and then I will mark down here, and I will go up again, paste special, close formulas, and click OK. And now we can just go through here, see did it do as it was supposed to. The ranges are okay. The criteria is okay. Enter the next one. Ranges are okay. Criteria okay. Enter. Can check this one as well. Range is okay. Criteria is okay. Let's try the other column. Range is okay. Criteria okay. Enter. Range is okay. There and there. Criteria okay. Let's see this one. Range is okay. Criteria okay. Let's try the last one. The range is still okay. Criteria okay. The range is okay and the criteria okay. The range is okay and the criteria okay. So now I actually managed to have some statistics in here that counts depending on what I have over here. Let's just try to change this innovation here to marketing. Then you'll see that over here, marketing changed. The marketing stat and the innovation stat changed. So let's just try to move it back, and you'll be able to see. Now we have the change here again. Both of them were identified, so it was in this column. that it changed. Okay, this was it on how to use COUNTIFs, so counting something based on multi-criteria. I hope this short video will help you on your future Excel work. Enjoy your work. Enjoy your day. This was it from now.